Next time, pleura, borders of lung and pleura, and mediastinum,
So I have a question. We're going to have many of respiratory system.
No, in exam we'll in respiratory, urinary, and genital organs together after 1 month.
Okay.
I think you know that lungs, oh, this is a lung. Lungs surround with a pleura, that is a pleura, see rose coat, sorry, this way. That is like organs in abdominal cavity supplies with peritoneum, lung supplies with a pleura. And pleura consists of visceral layer. Visceral layer heat is supplies lungs this way, and parietal layer. Visceral layer continues to parietal layer, and space between parietal pleura and visceral pleura, that is pleural cavity, and place where parietal pleura continues into visceral, that is in the region of root of the lung, that is in the region of root, parietal pleura continues into visceral, and parietal pleura has name pleura costalis, pleura diaphragmatica, and pleura mediastinalis, mediastinal pleura, and that is the same on the left side. Heat is heart, that is a heart, and heat is pleura. And that is place where parietal layer in the region of, that is place where bifurcation of trachea and left bronchus principalis goes to lung, heat is right bronchus principalis, and together with root of the lung, parietal pleura goes to the lung and supply it with a visceral layer. And now this space between right mediastinal pleura and left mediastinal pleura, this place has inner organs, and that is mediastinum. Main organ in mediastinum, that is heart. The same heat is trachea and bronchi principalis, esophagus, arch of aorta, superior vena cava, thymus gland in superior mediastinum, the same some veins, that is mediastinum. And mediastinum subdivides into superior and inferior. Look here, in sagittal plane, that is manubrium sterni, heat is corpus sterni and xiphoid process, and posteriorly heat is vertebral column. First, thoracic, second, third, fourth, fifth, how many? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. 12 thoracic vertebrae, and if we draw horizontal plane between lower border of fourth T4, fourth thoracic vertebra, and angulus sterni, that is, this plane subdivides mediastinum into superior and inferior, and heart is in inferior mediastinum, that is a heart, and with the help of heart, inferior mediastinum subdivides into anterior part, middle, and posterior part. Everything what is in front from heart. Heart surrounds with pericardium, heat is pericardium, and everything what is in front of pericardium, that is anterior mediastinum, heat is, we have internal thoracic vessels, internal thoracic artery and vein. Then middle part, heat is heart with pericardium, large vessels, that is ascending part of aorta, pulmonary trunk, pulmonary arteries. We have phrenic nerve and cardiac nervus plexus. And in posterior mediastinum we have descending part of aorta. Here it is esophagus. Here it is thoracic duct, that is lymphatic duct. We have azygos, hemiazygos, and accessory hemiazygos veins, vagus nerve, splanchnic nerves, all of them in posterior mediastinum. And superior mediastinum, behind of sternum, here it is thymus, then arch of aorta, superior vena cava, trachea and esophagus, the same pass through superior mediastinum. Clear it is? That is about mediastinum. Now we will speak about borders of the lung and borders of the pleura. We speak about apex or superior border. I will draw another diagram. Look here, that is sternum. Here it is sternum. That is sternum, manubrium sterni, corpus sterni. Here it is, what is this bone? Clavicle. First rib, second rib, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. And here it is the same. And if we make horizontal section, that is human body, and first line, what is this line? Which pass through middle part of sternum. That is linea mediana anterior. Linea mediana anterior. Linea mediana anterior. And posteriorly here, tell me please, what is in the region of spinal processes of thoracic vertebrae, we speak about linea mediana posterior. Linea mediana posterior. Next line in middle part of sternum, remember? Linea medio clavicularis. Here it is linea medio clavicularis. And between sternum and this line, linea parasternalis. Here it is linea parasternalis. Next line, who remember? In axillary cavity we have three lines: anterior axillary line, middle axillary line, and posterior axillary. This is linea axillaris anterior, this one linea axillaris media, and this is linea axillaris posterior. In the region of apex of scapula we have scapular line, linea scapularis, and near of vertebral column between linea scapularis and linea mediana posterior we have linea paravertebralis. Here it is parasternalis, here it is linea paravertebralis. They are topography lines on thoracic cage. And now, if we speak about superior border of the lung, that is apex of the lung, it is 2 centimeters above of clavicle, 2 centimeters, and posteriorly it corresponds to the level of C7, 7th cervical vertebra, and 2 centimeters above of clavicle, or 3-4 centimeters above of the first rib. And from this place, anterior border of the lung goes to sternoclavicular joint. From here goes near of linea mediana anterior and descend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is fifth rib. and descend to the level of fifth rib, and at the level of fifth rib it goes laterally and continues to inferior border. Inferior border of the lung start in fifth intercostal space, on which line? Linea parasternalis. Here it is fifth intercostal space. Here it is linea parasternalis, fifth intercostal space. Then linea medioclavicularis, mid-clavicular line. What is the level? Sixth rib. Yes, linea medioclavicularis. Here it is sixth rib. Sixth rib. Next, linea. What is this line? Linea axillaris anterior. Linea axillaris anterior. It will seventh rib. Linea axillaris media. It will eighth rib. Linea axillaris posterior. It will ninth rib. Linea scapularis 10th, and linea paravertebralis 11th rib, or spinal process of 11th thoracic vertebra. Here it is. That is inferior border of the right lung. And if we speak about pleura, superior and anterior border of pleura is the same like corresponding borders of the lung, but inferior border, it is pleura. It is pleura in linea parasternalis, that is sixth intercostal space, linea media clavicularis, seventh rib, linea axillaris anterior, eighth rib.
And what are in that space?
Oh, what?
In that space, why?
This? Why? Okay, I explain. Look here, that is in this diagram. That is lung, inferior border of the lung, and here it is inferior border of pleura. Why? It is inferiorly from lung in one rib, because this space we need for breathing. In time of inspiration, lung enlarges in size, it dilates and goes downward and goes to inferior border of pleura. That is extra size of pleura for breathing, because lung should expand in time of breathing. That is why it is larger, and pleural cavity is larger than volume of the lung, and inferior border of pleura is below than inferior border of the lung.
The pleura can expand? No.
No, pleura fixed, but lung it should expand, yes. And in time of most deep breathing, inferior border of the lung not attached to inferior border of pleura. That is, this size, it is enough for lung, for breathing of lung, and in time of expanding of lung not attached to inferior border of the pleura. It is good for us. That is, now we continues. Sixth intercostal space in linea parasternalis, that is pleura, then seventh rib in mid-clavicular line, eighth rib in an anterior axillary, ninth rib in mid-axillary, 10th rib in posterior axillary, 11th rib, that is linea scapularis, and 12th rib or spinal process of 12th thoracic vertebra, that is in paravertebral line. That is inferior border of pleura. And posterior border of the lung, it starts from the level of C7 and descend to the level of T11 in linea paravertebralis. And if we speak about posterior border of pleura, it's also start from C7 and finish at the level of T12 along of paravertebral line. Now on the left side. On the left side, superior border is the same, 2 centimeters above of clavicle, goes to sternoclavicular joint, goes medially and near of linea mediana anterior descent, first, second, third, fourth, to the level of fourth rib, because here it is we have heart, and pleura at the level of fourth rib, surround heart, goes downward and continues to inferior border lung on the left side. Lung on the left side goes to inferior border at the level of seventh rib in linea axillaris anterior, then eighth rib in linea axillaris media, ninth rib linea axillaris posterior, 10th rib linea scapularis, and 11th linea paravertebralis. And pleura the same. Here it is 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. That is why inferior border of the left on the left side start in linea axillaris anterior, because anterior border surround a heart with pericardium and continues to inferior border laterally than on the right side. Clear it is? And last moment. Here it is. We can see space, this space between costal pleura and diaphragmatic pleura. This space where lung is absent here. That is recessus costa diaphragmaticus, or sometimes speak about sinus, sinus costa diaphragmaticus. Usually recess, costa diaphragmatic recess. This recess, that is, I already explained why we need in this recess, because lung should expand. But in time of pleuritis, for example, here it is maybe pus accumulates, or in time of tuberculosis, if lung destroy and start bleeding in pleural cavity, blood also will accumulate in these cavities, and we can make punction of this sinus in mid-axillary line. Usually punction of this space performed in mid-axillary line. Look here, linea axillaris media, and lung here at the level of 8th rib, and pleura at the level of 9th rib. Look here, it is 8th rib, here it is lung, and that is 9th rib, and here it is pleura. And we will make punction above of 9th rib in 8th intercostal space, above of 9th rib. Here it is. That is place where we insert needle into pleural cavity and remove fluid from pleural cavity. Clear? Mm-hmm. That is importance of this sinus, sinus or recessus costa diaphragmaticus. Another sinus that is here, recessus phrenico-mediastinalis. It is not so important in medical practice, but in theory you need to know phrenico-mediastinal recess and look here, that is pleural cavity. Here it is right sac and right lung. Here it is mediastinum, heart, that is left pleura and left lung. And this space between mediastinal pleura and costal pleura, here it is. That is recessus costo-mediastinalis. The same, this recess only in theory we need to know, but large practical importance it is not have. Just this recess usually we used if necessary to remove fluid from pleural cavity. In normal, only 2 milliliters of serous fluid in pleural cavity, 2 milliliters, but in time of inflammation of pleura, maybe 1 liter, 2 liters of fluid in pleural cavity. Well, topography of lungs and pleura and mediastinum. You not need to draw these diagrams, not necessary to draw. It is only for your understanding. Well, today that is all.